Hello everyone. This is Starry Ari's ASMR. I am Ari, and today I have some silly little Easter cookies that I made that I wanted to show you for Easter Monday. And it is a little bit rainy outside, and my dog is also having a little bit of a off morning, so if you can hear in the background like panting or whatever, I hope it's not too distracting. So I have 6 cookies here to show you and tell you kind of a little bit about them. And I have this really cute Easter themed paper plate. So these cookies were my very first attempt at gluten-free sugar cookies, and I think they came out so good. They're like an almond vanilla, and I will link the recipe that I used in the description. But these are so tasty, and I'm kind of experimenting this last year. I've been experimenting with gluten-free baking because one of my husband's coworkers is gluten intolerant. She's not celiac, but she tries to avoid gluten as much as possible, and so she never gets to enjoy any of the sweet treats that I usually make or that people usually bring in. So every now and then I've been trying a new gluten-free recipe for her, of course with the understanding that I would be perfectly okay, like her not having any of these desserts, because we are not a gluten-free household. We use regular flour for most of our baking, so there are many opportunities for cross-contamination, but I at least want her to like have the option. If she wants to take that risk, then she like can, and she usually has like in the past. So I wanted to try out a new recipe and kind of see what I thought about it first, and I really liked these cookies. I think that they are just really good flavor, and they're really soft. I feel like a lot of the time gluten-free desserts are kind of like grainy, and these, you know, they have a little bit of a different texture than normal sugar cookies, but they're still just so good. So I'm going to move these off to the side, and then we can take a look at each of these one by one. So I have this plain paper plate that I'm going to use to take a look at each cookie, and I'm going to start with this one here. So this one is a little oval shape. All of the cookies are kind of oval shapes. I originally wanted to have them all be circles because I didn't know exactly how I was going to decorate them. But the one thing I'll say about this recipe, the dough was not particularly great about being picked up after being cut. And so after I realized that after the first few ones, I was like, I can pick it up in a way that it kind of creates an oval shape, and then I can do like eggs or something like that. And so it ended up working out okay, but that means that they are not the prettiest shapes, but that's okay. And this one, I decided to do some of these as kind of like a little chick coming out of an egg, and it's a little bit wonky and goofy looking. I'm not the best at decorating cookies, but I have fun with it. So for these cookies, I decided to just make a few different colors of icing. So I made this yellow, this really adorable kind of springtime yellow color. And then I also made some pink icing, and the little dots for the cheeks are kind of not symmetrical. And then I made this kind of grassy green icing. And then this white is just my normal icing. I didn't add any food coloring to it. So that's just my regular white royal icing. So I did an almond vanilla cookie and then just a vanilla royal icing. You can do different flavors in your royal icing, but that's just what I did. And I originally went in with this yellow, and I did a half kind of oval up here, and then down here I did a little zigzag with the yellow color. And then I did let it dry a little bit longer than I intended, because then when I went back in with the fill, the flood icing, which is this main area here, you can see a difference between the outline and the flood. And ideally, I know some people don't really mind, ideally I think those kind of should blend together so you don't see as much of an outline. Kind of like this green, you can see I went through and did the outline for my green, and then I kind of immediately went through and did the flood, and so it's a little bit wonky, but you don't see kind of an outline like you do for the yellow. And then I originally did the yellow like that, and then I let it dry a little bit, and then I went in with my green, and I kind of just followed the zigzag of the yellow up top and did the bottom of the egg here. And then I let both of those fully dry with the flood icing, or at least mostly dry. And then I went over top with a white zigzag up here along the edge of the egg, kind of like a little chick is popping out of a broken egg. And then I just did some little designs, like little Easter egg colorful designs, like a little zigzag or a straight line here, and then a little zigzag down here. And then over top this yellow, I was thinking about doing a little orange beak, but I didn't really care to mix another color of icing, so I just did the beak kind of over top in the yellow color. And I think it turned out okay. This one is really funky, but that's what I did for the beak. And then I did these little pink rosy cheeks, and I had a black edible food marker, and so I just wrote, or I just like put the marker on top of the yellow right here for the little eyes. And I think that this one just turned out really cute. It's a little bit funky, a little bit wonky, but compared to like some of my very early days of cookie decorating, the fact that this icing isn't like dripping everywhere off of the cookie is somehow a miracle. So I think they're kind of cute, they're funky, and just silly little cookies, but I thought this one and this design was just kind of cute. I had seen a similar design like this on Pinterest, and I was like, I don't think I can do their design, but I think I can do like the basics. So that is what I did for this cookie. And let me show you another, just one of the egg cookies. So this one here, you can see is another funky oval shape. And I did 3 kind of color blocks. So I did this bottom with the yellow. And you can see again that kind of outline before I did the fill. Like I let the outline dry a little bit longer, I think, than I needed. And then I did this pink in the center. And then I did this green color block up at the top. And so what I did for this one, I went through and did this yellow first. And then I did the green pretty much right after. And then I let both of those dry. And then once those were dry, I went and did the pink, because I didn't really want the pink to kind of like blend in with the other colors too much. And so I wanted to make sure at least these edges of the yellow and green were pretty dry. And then I took my white icing and just did some quick little decorations as if I was decorating Easter eggs. So up here in the green, I did these straight across lines. And in the pink, I did these little polka dots. These cute little white polka dots. And then in the yellow down here, I did the white kind of chunky zigzag. Again, a little bit messy, a little bit funky, but these cookies are so yummy that I'm okay with these ones and how they turned out. And it was fun. I just kind of made the different icing and I just kind of like went with it. I didn't have too much of a plan besides the little chick eggs. Like I kind of knew a general shape I was going to do for those. The rest of these, I just kind of did whatever my little heart was telling me to do. And my royal icing recipe does dry down really nicely. And so it is kind of like a solid icing on top. And so it's pretty good for tapping, scratching. Alright, so there is one of the egg cookies. Let me show you one of the other chick cookies. And this one is so funky. And I love it. This was one of my most funky cookie shapes. A lot of these were kind of like my tester cookies. And that's why I'm like sitting here tapping and scratching, because people aren't going to be eating them. And besides me, like I'm going to eat these eventually. And this one is another little chick, but on the green down here, I decided to do some little sprinkles, which kind of was like a little like grass effect almost. So it's a little bit funky, but I thought it was kind of cute. And then this was my very first, like my tester chick. I was kind of messing around with like what I wanted to do for the design. And so the nose is kind of the same. It's that yellow nose or beak. And then the pink little cheek circles. It's like a little blush. It's very cute. Some of the sprinkles are falling. And then I tried to do little white eyes first, and it looked like it was a bit of a scared chick with just the plain white eyes. So I was like, okay, I don't really like that. Let me try and do just the black marker for like little pupils in the eyes. And now this chick looks like it has seen some things. So I did not particularly care for the white and the black, and so for the other chicks I decided to just do the black, and I think that I ended up liking that so much more. But this was my first tester one, and I think it, it's still really cute. It's just so funky, and I love how funky it is. Here's another egg one. This is another of the color block eggs. So I did the yellow, the pink, and the green. But this one I did different colors of the zigzags. So in the yellow color block, I did this green zigzag with the green icing. And then in the pink color block, I did a white zigzag. And in the green color block up here, I did a yellow zigzag. So I wanted each zigzag color to be at least one step different. Like I didn't want to do green for the pink here or yellow because it touched both of those. And so I just did it with a white, and then that let me do the yellow for the green and then the green for the yellow. And my zigzags, again, are a little bit funky, a little bit wonky, but I think they were really fun. I just kind of went for it with these cookies and just kind of had fun with it. There's that. And I can show you my last chick egg that I have here. And this is another one with a green on the bottom. I could have done different colors for the eggs on the bottom because it's like they would be dyed Easter eggs, but I just kind of stuck with a green. And I did a white zigzag at the edge of the eggshell. And then I did a little white polka dots on the egg. And then for the little chick up here, it's again yellow, has the tiny little blush spots on either side of its little beak. And then its eyes here, I think I did the marker a little bit too heavy-handed. And so you can see that the black kind of bled into the yellow a tiny bit, which I think is kind of funny because it makes it look like it has little eyelashes. And there were some of the other chick cookies that I sent with my husband to work to share with his coworkers. And some of them looked even more like eyelashes, and so I thought that was kind of funny. You just kind of roll with it, I think, for cookie decorating. I don't really take it too seriously, you know. But I thought this one was really cute with the little polka dots. And I am glad I did the white outline on the eggshell up here. I think that it just kind of made it a little bit cuter. And my last egg cookie here is another funky kind of oval shape. And it is a pink egg with green polka dots. This one was just, super simple, really easy. I did quite a few of these egg shapes with just a solid color like this. And then just did little designs like polka dots or zigzags or stripes on them. And so this was just one of the solid colors. And I think I did another one that was pink and I did a white polka dots, and I did like that one more. But this one was also pretty cute with the little green polka dots. And those were all 6 of the eggs that I wanted to show you today. Again, I just had fun with these ones. They were just cute and silly, and I thought fun for Easter. And I also made some other cookies that weren't gluten-free, and they were it was like the Hershey's chocolate candy coated eggs. I did those in a cookie, kind of like an M&M cookie, but I crushed those up and put that in the cookie dough. And I will put in some footage of how I plated those, but I wanted to wrap those pretty quickly after I made them because they had regular flour. And so I didn't want kind of like the regular flour from me baking those like floating around while I was baking these ones. So those ones were just super simple little drop cookies. They did kind of like spread a little bit more than I would have liked. And I think that I could have like chilled the dough a little bit more before I like scooped out. I didn't chill the dough at all, so any chilling would have been more than I did. But they were so tasty. I was really wanting to do them with Cadbury eggs, but sadly we just could not find the Cadbury mini eggs anywhere in stores, like a big enough bag of them. So we just kind of made do with what we had. And I found the Hershey's chocolate egg candy coated ones, and I just used those instead. And they do taste a little bit different, but I think they were still pretty tasty. I hope that you enjoyed this little Easter video for Easter Monday. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.